welcome back to the channel. If you are preparing for ACCA APM paper, you already know the biggest challenge, that is a case study question. Students keep telling me, "Sir, I understand the concepts, but I freeze when a long APM question appears." So today, I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step method I personally teach to my students to crack any APM case studies confidently, logically, and consistently. By the end of this video, you will have a repeatable writing formula that works in all case scenarios. Before starting this video, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon and share with your ACCA colleagues who also wants these kind of strategies. So now let's jump in. Before we get into the method, let's quickly understand how APM cases are designed. APM case studies questions test three things. First, application, not just a definition. Second, professional judgment. It will be a balanced argument. And third, it's relevant to the scenario. That is linking every point to the case study. Remember one thing, you will not get any extra marks for just a pure theory. And examiner has already told us these APM answers fail because students simply describe the model instead of applying it. So our strategy must force us to apply and justify. That's where my 5-step APM case study solutions method comes in. So why a student struggles in APM case studies? Let's understand it quickly. First of all, they feel there are long case study questions, so they feel overwhelming. Students write just a theory instead of applications. They need to apply to the case study scenarios, whatever the model they want to use. Third one is the weak structure and poor professional judgment. They even don't give the professional judgment. If they misses this professional judgment, they will lose the marks. Explaining models, they just explain the models that this is blah 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 and so, but they just don't apply the models to the case study scenario, and that's the biggest mistake and that's the biggest struggle in APM case study questions. Okay, so now let's jump in the 5-step APM case study solution framework. So this 5 study model you have to apply in every kind of scenario and you will get the exact marks. So first step, that is the decode the requirement. You have to understand the requirement properly. Whatever the case study scenario comes in, you have to decode in breaking down the requirement exactly. Second is the break down the scenario. Whatever the scenario has given to you, you have to break it down into the smaller parts. Third one is the point, apply, and impact scenario. You have to mention some points. If you have encountered any of the situations in the case study questions, you have to apply that point, then apply the case study scenario. Whatever the model you want to use, apply that model to the particularly linking with the case study scenario. And you also need to implementations. You also need to suggest some implementations as lead professional judgments. Fourth one, use models selectively. You have to use some of the models, like no need to just give the theory. You have to apply that theory into linking with the exact case study scenario. Fourth one is the professional presentation, and obviously you should write like a professional consultant, not just a student. So you have to widen your approach in while writing the APM case study questions. Now let's start the 5-step model. The first step is to decode the requirement. Most students rush into writing. APM is not just a speed race, it is an interpretation exam. Here is how to decode the requirement. First of all, understand the command words. For example, evaluate, advise, discuss, assess, or recommend. So these are the common words or command words. You have to underline these command words based on the whatever the examiner is want to ask to you. Second is identify the topic area. The case study questions might come from the only one topic or more than one topic. So you have to identify which topic area has been covered in the case study scenario. For example, performance measurement, strategic issues, variance analysis, KPI design, or quality and value creation might be the risk management question. Third one, identify the stakeholders' perspective. Obviously, you should obviously identify the whatever the kind of stakeholders' perspective is going to change. That might be impact. So you have to identify the stakeholders' perspective, from which perspective the question is asking, like for board of directors or the shareholders, the operation manager or the marketing director. Fourth one, you have to identify the time horizon, whether the question is just asking for the short term duration or it will cover the long term scenario. So we have to identify the four major concepts. First, underline the command words. Second, identify the topic area, which over the topic area belongs to this question. Third, identify the shareholder's perspective. And fourth one, identify the time horizon, whether it is for short term or long term. This clarity alone improve 20% of your marks. This is the most important one. Second, break down the scenario quickly. When you read a long question, your brain gets overloaded. Use the scenario abstraction technique. Create a 5-line summary. First of all, what the company does. That means the nature of activities it's going to conduct. What is the strategic change? What they are going to change. Third, what's the objective is behind these changes? What that there should be the objective. Fourth one, what problem exists in the current scenario and what the data is given to you. These are the 5-line summary. You have to draw a 5-line summary in this method. This prevents information overloaded. Let's give an example. Here, there is an example. Like suppose a company is in online retail clothing brand. They want to change, or what's the exact changes? They want to expand to the international market. What's the objective behind this change? They want to improve the profitability. And what's the problem is in the company is falling customer satisfaction. So there is the customer declining. So there is the customer satisfaction declining trend. And the data is given like maybe financial trends, KPIs, or customer feedback. That may be the customer feedback score. This simple structure helps you to stay focused during evaluation. So this is the method that we have to break it down in the simple and quick scenario. Now, let's move to the third one, point, apply, and impact scenario. So these three words are most important one. First of all, the point. Identify the issue or evaluation area. Whatever the evaluation area, might be there are some issues with the current scenarios. The company is declining its profits or anything else like that. So you have to first identify the issues or evaluation area. Second, apply, link directly to the scenario data. Whatever the scenario has been given to in the question, you have to apply that scenario with the some particular model. Let's suppose a balance scorecard or benchmarking. There might be some scenario data given number to you. So links it directly to the scenario data, numbers or facts. You have to just apply it. And lastly, the impact. Explain the consequences or implications for the business. Whatever the consequences may happen after applying these scenarios, you have to professionally suggest them whatever the exact consequences that might be affected or the implications that going to affect the business after applying these scenario. For example, this is just a high scoring example for just need to give you the exact idea. For example, the point is current KPI are too heavily financial and short term focused. So the current APIs may be heavily financial and short term focused. So what you have to apply. For example, the company relies mainly on the profit margin and ROCE, but ignores the customer satisfaction score, which have fallen from 78% to 62%. So we have to understand the exact point where we have to apply this case study scenario. So what will be the impact on this method? This creates a risk that management may focus on short-term cost cutting instead of improving service quality, damaging long-term competitiveness. This is exactly how examiner wants in APM answers to be written. Step number 4. Using strategic models correctly. APM examiner hates irrelevant theory. Only use model when the requirements specifically mention it, or it naturally fits the problem, and it helps the structure your answer. Useful models like includes these are the useful models that you can write it in your APM case study questions, like balance scorecard, building block model, value for money, 4 V's of the operations, benchmarking, Six Sigma, TQM, risk analysis, or pastel or portal if strategics. So, but here is a trick: never explain the model, just apply it. Don't need to write the theory. You have to apply the model to the exact case study scenario given to you. For example, instead of saying a balance scorecard has 4 perspectives, say under the customer's perspective, satisfaction scores are declining, leading to potential churn. So that's how you score professional marks. This might be involved when the examiner exactly wants. Model applications example. So let's suppose you have to be very frankly, you have to use the customer perspective. So what will be the customer perspective? Falling satisfaction score indicates the service gap. So might be the delivery service may not be provided on time. Internal process perspective, it may involve delay in delivery affecting customer retention. So this must be the reason, and you have to apply that exact reason with the case study scenario. Not a theory explanation needed. Not at all. Theory is not at all important, but theory application is important into linking that theory with the case study scenario. And lastly, step number 5, professional answer presentation. APM answer should look like a consultant report, not just a theory essay. Follow this pattern. First of all, clear headings and subheadings, like issues with the current performance measurements or evaluation of the proposed KPI set or the strategic implementations. So you have to exactly use the headings, whatever the heading is in the case study questions. You have to write it down in the short paragraphs. Don't they exactly not wanted to give you the long paragraphs. Just give you the short paragraph between 3 to 4 lines, and each paragraph you have to apply that point number 3, that the step number 3 point, apply an impact. Every point should have an application with the linking to the case study scenario, and obviously you have to the professionally judge the impact, whatever the impact is going to hamper, whatever the hampering to the business is. Use the professional tone. Avoid emotional or casual statements. You have to be very professional. Provide balanced and exam style judgment. While the new KPI improves long term focus, its reliability may be limited due to measurement challenges. And lastly, use the data. Numbers equal to your marks. Whenever you suggest some numbers, whenever you write some numbers in the case study scenarios, you will get your exact marks because that's they actually want. This is exactly the examiner rewards to you by giving the marks. Now let's move to the exam day writing strategy. You have to just quickly identify the reading and planning time, you don't spend more than 8 to 10 minutes in reading and planning. Just quickly read the questions, get the breaking down of the questions. Always write the conclusion at the last, even if the question asks for it for first, but you have to apply that professional conclusions at the last. Use heading and subheading to show the structures. Always prioritize the scenario data over theory. I obviously recommend use the data whenever you get some data. Use that data into your answer. This will give you the exact marks, exactly the examiner wants you to provide the data. Use both negative and positive evaluations, whatever the case is. If you are going to suggest them, this might be the evaluation, this might be the implications. So you have to suggest both of the implications, whether it is possible, the positive implications or the negative implications. And never ignore feasibility and implementation issues. That this model is feasible to you, or the feasible to the organization is not or not. And suggest some implementation issues. This might be the implementations you might suffer or may not be suffer from these implementation strategies. These tiny little habits can add 10 to 15 marks extra. Some common mistakes to avoid. So explaining just a models. This is you have to avoid just explaining the models. They don't want the models to be explained. They want to uh, exactly link to the scenario. When ignoring negative aspects. If you are asking some aspects, so whatever the aspects is, you have to mention both the aspects, whether it is positive or negative. Don't write generic answer, and no linkage to scenario. This is not at all feasible, guys. You have to link any situation to the scenario. Whatever the model you want to use that model, link that model to the scenario. And please avoid long unstructured paragraph. Obviously recommend just write it down, shoot a short within 3 to 4 lines is minimum. But you might suggest, I just suggest you to provide more paragraphs, but within that time limit, and within that line framework, like 1 2 3, you get most of the paragraphs, but within that shorter duration paragraph. Now, final takeaways. Success in APM equals to structure plus application plus judgments. So you have to be a very structured answer. You have to judge the applications. You have to apply the model in the case study scenario and give your professional judgment. But you are in the professional say. Use this 5 step framework in every case study and you will get the exact marks. And writing practice like a business consultant, not just a student. You have to be think that you are the exact business consultant and not a theoretical student. So that's the exact 5 step method I used to help students to crack every APM case study questions every single time. If you found this video helpful, hit the like, share, and subscribe. And if you want me to make a video on how to write APM answers for full professional marks, drop me a comment below. Thanks for watching and all the best for your exams. See you in the next one.